All right, full screen it up. Let's change over here. Let's do this.
Look at you, dressed nice.
Always.
It
Always.
looks so pleasant.
I love that. How are you, bro?
Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Adsy. Hey, listen. I want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you very much. Is it too dark here? Is it too dark? Because I could turn the light on.
Nah,
It's
you're
a
right.
every day it's usually really bright out here. People who watch my stream, you always see me complain about how bright this window always is and it messes up my lighting. And today it's like I'm in a dungeon over here.
That's all good. That's all good. Um, so I've been looking forward to doing this with you, man. Like we've been having a chat about it during the week and having a bit of a laugh and seeing how it's going to go and what we're going to talk about. For me, you know me, like I like to just chat and see how we go with it and just see where it progresses. But I always like to start with a little bit of an intro. So like, I met you through Kalu, through Charlie, as you know, and we had a really good relationship before that. For a long time. So I met him in Holty's channel like 10 months ago or something. So we've been mates for a while, and he's been my mod for a long time as well. So one of the really good dudes, and he introduced me to you, and we've been having good conversations. Like I've been hanging out with you a lot in your streams and seeing what you're all about. And what really interested me was when you started talking, or when you started doing those streams about the book you're reading in that, and all the stuff you were talking about there. And I was like, okay, this is something I could get into. Like this is right up my alley. So if you could do us all a favor, give yourself a little bit of an intro, tell us a bit about yourself, where you come from, your
Yeah, yeah.
background, and yeah, we'll go from there, eh?
Sure, sure. And I know I don't have to tell you this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If I get too if I digress too much or I go in a different direction, just interrupt me, because I tend to get long-winded because I like to give full answers to really important questions, so an intro is an important question to me. Kalu, Charlie was the first or second person I met on Twitch.
Hmm.
Um, Funny story. I had no idea what Twitch was 2 years ago. I was playing Call of Duty with my friends when Warzone first came out, and I'll never forget it. I'm the worst Warzone player out of all my friends. I am. However, I will say this. I'm very successful in life. So my friends think it's hilarious when I play Call of Duty because it's like, why is Ken even doing this? Like why is Ken? But I love the game. I do. I love the game and I love hanging out with them.
Yeah, I get it.
Um, but I'm terrible at it. So there was one game where we were I was the last one, of course, in the final circle, and they're all talking shit to me. Do this, do that, do this. I was like, guys, shut the fuck up. Sorry, is it cool if I curse?
Yeah, of course, of
Is it
course.
all right? I was like, guys, shut the fuck up. All right, let me just fuck this up myself. Okay, you guys are making me nervous. They're like, you're 1v4, you're 1v4. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck that means, man. Let me play. I'm going around. I was in a little soccer field in Warzone. I see one guy, poof, take him out with the ground. I see another guy, poof, and then they're like, they're behind the container, they're behind the container. I'm like, all right, fine. I run, I jump, I take two guys out, doof, doof. All of a sudden, it goes that Warzone sign, pew. I'm like, get the fuck out of here! I did that other shit. It was like a big deal. So I was telling my friend, I was like, Cap, Cap, do me a favor, clip that for me, clip that. Don't you do the Twitch thing? Can you clip that, please? I want to show my wife. She thinks I'm terrible at this game. Come on, clip that for me. She's always like, nagging me, like, why do you waste your time? You're so bad at the game.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't clip it for me. So I'm like, dude, you're really not going to give me that little tiny clip? He's like, oh, I don't have time for that. This, and I was like, wow, what a dick. Like, you know what? I'll do it myself. So I went on to his profile. I'm like reading this Twitch thing, and the kind of person that I am, I got obsessed with that. I'm reading about all these different things you can do, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. I created a profile, and I'm like, and then next thing, like, long story short, I got obsessed with it. About a week later, I'm like, hey guys, I got a profile. I'm gonna go live today. They're like, what are you gonna go live with? I'm like, Twitch. Like, why? Like, what are you gonna stream? I'm like, I don't know, Call of Duty like you do. They're like, you're so bad at Call of Duty. Why are you gonna stream Call of Duty? I'm like, I don't care. I'm just gonna have fun. So that stream, in that stream, I'm pretty confident the first person I met, I swear it has to be, it was Charlie. I'm playing and I streamed to 0 viewers, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just playing and I'm like, I didn't care. All of a sudden I see a little thing pop up with, hey mate. I'm like, mate, I'm like, where's this guy from, mate? So I was like, hey mate, where are you from, mate? Just like, because I didn't know anything about it. You know, Charlie's Charlie. He's just
Yeah.
like he starts giving me tips on like what I'm doing wrong and this and that. I'm like, oh hey, thanks, I really appreciate that. You know, I'm so bad at this game. Nobody ever shows me anything. And he was just such a helpful dude for no reason at all. And next thing you know, we just start talking about who he is as a person and you know, like what he does, where he's from, and it blew my mind. Like as I'm talking to Charlie, I don't think he realizes I was mind blown that there's this young lad over in Ireland who by this crazy machine that I got interested in, connected with, and now we're having this awesome conversation, and he's helping me in the game, you know,
Yeah.
and then ever since Charlie's always been just helpful, man. He's always been very helpful. He's always been you know giving me tips on how to help my. She's always been connecting me to people. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be connected to anybody, you, anybody. Blitty, I wouldn't be connected to anybody on that side if it wasn't for Charlie. Charlie's always reached out to me with people that he thinks that I should connect with, and I should be you know speak to or just be a part of.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's I really owe Charlie quite a bit, and I tell him that all the time. I always let him know how grateful I am to have met him.
Yeah, he's a good like that, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was so quick to mod him on my channel. Like, and like, I obviously I asked him first, but I said to him, I was just like, dude, you know, I saw him in Holty's channel and what he was doing with Holty, and I was like, dude, I would love that if you could do that in this channel. Like, I don't. Like I had a couple of mods, but they weren't always present, and they were mostly my mates, you know, and they were sort of just
Right, right.
doing it to help me out more than anything. And I said to him, "Oh, there's not many people in my channel, man. You know, you could just come in and just hang out, and like, you know, like we can just chat, and like if every now and again you can just like, I don't know, do a fucking prediction or something like that, and have a bit of fun with it." Because at the time I had like I'd only just gotten to like 100 followers, and I had like an average of 3 viewers, and I was just like, we can have a bit of fun with it, man, you know, whatever. And then and now it's kind of like a little bit more, and he's just like every now and again he comes in and he's just like, Jesus, like I can't keep up with all this shit sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, you know, you're this is why now I have 10. So,
Hey, you know what? Here's a question for you, and not to dive too off track, but it has to do with something you just said, right? When you were at 100, right, and you know
Mm.
you had you know Charlie helping, and I because I'm not too far from that, I'm only at two and change or whatever. Um, did you know you wanted to be where you are today, and even bigger? Like, and was your channel like you know because you have all these different channels for people to do all kinds of different things and people to connect in so many different ways. It's fucking amazing. Did you know when you were that at the 100 follower mark that that's where you were gonna eventually get to or wanted to be at?
No, I just doing it because I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
For me, it was just like it was because I obviously like I work full time, like you know, like I've said to you before with the business and stuff, and it's a really hard job, and gaming's always been my outlet when it comes to you know me being in my comfort zone, and games has always been that for me. And then I discovered Twitch, and all my friends were doing Twitch, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a go, like, and I enjoyed it. So I just kept doing it because I enjoyed it, and then it just evolved into this whole other thing. And I didn't even plan for that to happen. It was just more, it was just me just doing my own thing to like a couple of people, and then eventually, because I was so active in other people's streams, eventually they all just came in and said hello, and like just more and more people kept coming in and saying hello, and then more and more people kept staying, and I was just like, I don't understand why you guys are still here. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like,
you
I'm not
have
doing
that.
anything special. Like, I'm not amazing at any game. Like, I just enjoy playing. Like, I'm not like, you know, a high end Warzone player of any caliber or anything like that. Like, I've even stopped playing it altogether, as I told you the other day. But for me, it's more just like the fact that I get to come in here and I get to talk with people, the same people every day, and they're basically like family now. And it's just
Yeah.
like that's what makes it special. And like it's gone from a hobby to something that has evolved into something so much more. And I did not expect it at all.
Yeah. No, you know what it is? There's something magnetic about you. You know, there's it's just what it is. You know, and people are attracted to that. I can relate to what you're talking about because when I started the so I should probably go a little bit into me, but because that'll help you understand how it formed into what it is today, and you know why I want to keep you know streaming and you know have it organically grow at whatever rate. I'm just like you. Like I don't have a number per se. Would I like for it to get bigger? Sure. And that's because to me that would mean that there are more people connecting and that there are more people really feeding off of this positivity. There are more people feeding off of the energy that we're bringing to this, to this community, to this platform.
Yeah.
Um, but so I lost my train of thought. I wanted to go into a little bit about me because that'll help you understand why I'm not just, kind of jumping off,
Yeah.
The so I'm also I'm a business executive, so not entrepreneurial per se. Um, to a degree, yes, but more so, I found my way into corporate America in my 20s, and that's simply just by pure and sheer talent. I'm first generation immigrant. So when my mom migrated here when she was pregnant with me, she wanted me to be an American. My origins are from South America. So I grew up in a Spanish speaking household, and I was the only one who spoke English. So school was really, really hard for me, because I kind of, I needed to take advantage as much as I could of what I was learning in school, because at home it was really difficult for my parents to teach me because they were speaking a completely different language. They didn't understand a lot of the stuff that I was learning. But and I grew up in a very poor neighborhood. By the way, I love my life. I love my path and my journey because it's helped me become who I am today. And I have this unde- I just have like I wake up hungry. That's the
Yeah.
best way for me to put it. I wake up hungry every day. If I'm playing a video game, if I'm offline, whatever it is, I'm doing that for me. I'm fulfilling a certain hunger, a desire, and there's always something being fulfilled. That I credit to the way that I grew up. So when I talk about I was poor, this and that, there's no complaints. I love the way I grew up, but it was very poor. I always had to go to school a lot of times in the same clothes, and I would admire kind of other kids and how they live. And I grew up with that kind of a perspective, just always admiring what other people have. Never jealousy though. That
Mm.
was one thing. My mom raised me. It's important to know that my mother. I had two fathers walk out on me at a very young age. Not to take it too into a sentimental route, but that's just what happened. My mother was my mom and dad. She's the most powerful woman I've ever known in my entire life, and till this day, she's my best friend. But she raised me. She raised me tough. She raised me strong. She knew she was gonna have to play that role. When my father walked out. But she never allowed me to feel like jealousy. She always taught me, hey, look, appreciate what we have. There's people out there who are hungry. Think about that though. Think about growing up poor, right?
Yeah.
And then still having a parent say, hey, look, it could be worse. Like
Yeah.
that's powerful. That is so powerful. So it was very easy for me to feel gratitude, right? Because the more I got in life, the more I was like, oh, this is too much. I don't need all this. This is too much. I don't need all this. So let's fast forward, okay? I grew up. That was my life. Fast forward. In high school, now keep in mind, I wasn't getting much help at home, right? So academically, nobody was pushing me. I
Yeah.
was so lazy. I was so lazy walking around in my football jacket because I was a football player. Hey, I play sports. You guys go to the game on Friday? Gotta see you there, man. That's right. I'll be on that field. That's right. Watch me. Watch me. I'm amazing. I was a little piece of shit. and, and I never did any of the homework or anything like that. But I did pass tests, so people knew I was smart. They knew like there was a brain in there that was working.
Yeah. I get you.
But I was very late. I never established a habit of doing homework, of being responsible, and and look, my mother did what she could, right? So fast forward high school, right? Now I'm 18 years old, right? Guess what? Friday night football is out. It's gone, Ken. It's gone.
Hmm.
You're not gonna play in college. You got a 2.1 GPA. It's not gonna happen. But I still had this undying urge to succeed because my whole life growing up seeing people have more and more and more, and I'm like 18. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I was so lost. 2 years passed. I'm sorry, 1 year passed. I was 19 years old. My mom said, "You're gonna go to college, okay? You're gonna go to college. That's the American dream. You're gonna go to college, okay? You're gonna do your college and then you're gonna succeed. That's the American dream." And I remember thinking, "All right, fine, fine, I'll go." But like, I'm trying to connect the dots, Mom. I'm like, "What do you mean? If I get this major, what can I do this and that?" Like, if I'm gonna spend my time, it doesn't make sense. She's like, "Just go. You got to get your 4-year degree. If you have no," I was like, "All right." I went one semester to college, hated it.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there with professors talking all kinds of nonsense, and like he wasn't. It felt like he wasn't taking it seriously, and I'm like, and I'm trying to connect the dots to like how the life that I want is gonna stem from where the hell I am. every day taking the train. Hated it. Second semester, I'm on the train. All I hear is, "Hey, are you Ken?" I turn around. I'm like, "Yeah." I recognize the face, but I didn't know who he was. It's like, "Yeah, well, yeah, I'm Ken." He was wearing a nice suit, very good looking, like just like bright. And I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "Hey, I'm George." And he sat down next to me, like this was a very like a very like, "Hey, this is who I am." Like you just the kind of person walks into a room and everybody's like, "Oh shit, who's that guy?" You know, like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Took his hand. And he's like, "What's going on? We went to high school together." And I'm like, "I don't think so, man. I really don't think so." He's like, "Yeah, I was 4 years ahead of you. I remember you. You were going into high school as a freshman when I graduated." And I'm like, "Oh, so you're 4 years older than me. You already finished college, and you're like you have a great job." So no, I didn't go to college. No, I didn't go. I work on Wall Street. Wall Street, like Wall Street, Wall Street. Because there were people who took the train who so I would get off at one exit to go to college, and then they would go, on to New York City for
Yeah,
Wall
yeah.
Street. And I was like, "No." And he's like, "No, no, really, I do. I work on Wall Street." He's like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, I'm trying to go to college, man." He's like, "Yeah, you don't look too happy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not, but look, I got to do it. Hopefully I could get a job like you have one day." It's like, you don't need college. Anyway, so we start talking to each other, this and that. We befriended each other. I would see him on train all the time. And then 3 weeks in, I guess I must have had a face on me, right? He walks over, sits down, doesn't say a word. Doesn't say a word. I'm like, "Hey, George." And he's like, "Hey, don't you want to be happy?" And I'm like, "Is that a trick question?" He's like, "Listen, I'm going to give you a chance to be happy. Okay. You're going to have to find yourself a suit. All right. Find yourself a suit, clean up a little bit, will you? I'm gonna get you an interview, okay? You're gonna be a broker over there in New York. Okay, we're gonna try you out." And I'm looking at him like, whoa! What are you talking about, man? I'm in college, dude. I'm not gonna quit college. Like, what do you mean? He's like, "No, Ken, I'm not kidding. I'm really." He's like, "I want to give you a shot, okay? I want to give you a shot. I feel like everybody deserves to be happy. I don't know much about you, but you seem to be a good, good talker. You seem to have a good head on your shoulder. The rest we're gonna have to figure it out to see if you have it." And I'm looking at him like, "Wait, are you being serious? Like for real? For real? Like, are you being really serious here?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Look, it's not easy. You could walk in day one and we'll kick you right back out. You have to be hungry. You have to be hungry." So I thought about it for 3 weeks, Edsy. For 3 weeks, I'm like, my mom's gonna kill me though. Like, I really gotta. In my culture, it's like you gotta make your mom proud. Like you take care of your mother. She's your queen. You make her proud. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't let her down. I can't let her down. 3 weeks I sat on it, but then I started reading these books. I started reading books on like the power of positivity, the law of attraction, and manifesting your what you want into existence, like powerful shit.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. Blew my mind. My mind started going in a million different directions, and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. She's gonna understand." That was the day. I would say that was the first time in my life that a life of a train ride going like this finally said, "You know what? I'm going to take a chance." And then took the road less traveled. That
Yeah.
was the day because I ended up going to New York. I ended up beating those guys. I went there with a whole shitload of confidence that I had gotten from reading these books and bigging myself up and knowing what I want because I knew that what they were going to ask me, "What do you want to do with your life? What do you know about business? What would you do if somebody says this?" Like I went there with the fucking answers, man. And I walked out like the big swinging dick. I'm sorry, but that's just the best way to put it because I was in Wall Street, New York, like this. Just like I'm the man, dude. I am the fucking man. At 19,
Yeah, I
I was
get
there
you.
for 3 years. I was there for 3 years, man. I had built a team. I learned the whole foreign exchange market. Um, that was my first dose of what it is to sell, like the power of influencing, the power. Because I was speaking to grown men who had millions of dollars, and I'm a fucking kid,
Yeah.
right? So imagine the empowering feeling being 19, 20 years old, and there's a grown ass man who's got like, a million times your net worth who says, "All right, Ken, we're gonna go with this. It makes sense. I'm gonna go with your idea. Here's 100,000. Let's see what it looks like in 6 months." Dude, that's like dopamine kick fucking day after day after day after
Yeah.
day after day for 3 years. But yeah, that was how it started. My taste for kind of sales and business uh and it was cool because like I was able to be competitive,
Yeah.
like I was competing with everybody, and that um But yeah, I've been talking for a while, so I want to give you a chance to I
No,
don't
no,
want to
this
talk
is
the
what
whole
it's all.
time.
This is what it's all about, dude. This is what podcasting is all about. You know what it is? It's free flowing conversation. I love the fact how like you can feel the passion in your voice, and that's what I love about you. Like you don't do anything in half measures, man. And I love that because I can relate when it comes to me, when it comes to like the way I was like growing up and doing everything in my business. Because like my business to me, like right now, it's like my baby. It's the manifestation of me being like, you know what, I can do better than these people, and I'm gonna keep doing this. You know what I mean? So like, I was always like for the last 12 years of my life, I've been a mechanic. I mean, like, it's in that respect. I was always working for people, and I was doing my job really well because I was interested in it, right?
Right,
Like
right.
I was building engines and I was rebuilding engines, and it was my job, and I was having a really good time doing it because it was interesting to me. So I'm one of those people that my brain has to be moving and ticking all the time because if it does, it never stops. This is why I hardly sleep. Like this is why you always see me on weird hours and stuff. This is why, because I sleep my 4 or 5 hours and I'm up again and I'm thinking and I'm doing stuff and I'm reading books and I'm listening to podcasts and I'm doing all this at the same time as trying to run a business, as trying to do the Twitch thing, I do 1,000 things at once because that's how I am. And like I can't help that. I can't sit still. Like it's just the way I am. I've probably got some sort of like crazy ADHD going on, but I don't know. Like I'm just doing what makes me happy. And when I was working for someone, all I could think of was like I could do that better. That's all I could think of, and it drove me fucking mental. Like I would just like the way they treated customers and stuff, and it
Oh
was it
yeah.
was it was fine, but like it could have been more. There could have been more to it. You know what I mean? Like there could have been a deeper
100%.
thing to it. So I basically just took everything I learned from everyone working for other people and just thought I'm just gonna whatever they did wrong, I'm just gonna do the opposite, and
Yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna give it a go. And like when my old boss offered my job back to me like 3 4 times. Like he's just like, you sure you don't want to come back? You sure you don't want to come back? I was like, no, no, I'm gonna give this whole self-employed thing a go. And
Right, right.
he's like, why would you want to do that? I'm like, because like you pay me a third of what I could make, like, and also like, you know, I wanted the challenge. Like
Yeah.
I want to give it a go. It's like, and I said to him like, in 3 years time, because you know how it is with business, like. First year is a loss, second year you make even, and third year you make money. Like that's just the way business is, right?
Right,
Especially when
right.
you're starting something up from scratch. And I just said to him, look, in 3 years' time, if it's not going anywhere, I'm sure I'll come back, or I'll go on to something different. Like it's just the way I am. I'm just gonna move forward, never back. So I just said to him, look, I really appreciate the offer, and I really appreciate the fact that you have so much faith in me and stuff when it comes to how much you needed me in the business.
Right,
But I
right.
also wanted a challenge, so I challenged myself to do it, and then I have done it, and then the Twitch thing again, like it started out as a hobby, and now it's a new challenge. Do you know what I mean? And then I thought to myself, now I have all these people that come here and they watch and they want to learn something. Why not do a podcast? Like, and it's just like it just stems from it. Like I have little ideas that come up in my head and I just do them, and if they don't work, I don't do them again. Like, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like it's just trial and error, dude. Like, and
Yeah, yeah.
it makes sense to me.
Dude. You know how a lot of people say, oh wait, did it mute?
No, you
I
good?
lost sound. You're okay. Oh no, you know why? Because there's a delay. I'm watching your Twitch stream
Oh
and
yeah,
there was
yeah.
a delay. You were
It's all
still
good.
talking on your Twitch stream, so I was like, oh shit.
It's all good.
um, dude, man, dude, I'm so happy you shared that, and thank you, by the way, thank you for sharing that, man. Yeah, you definitely have ADHD, but listen, so do I. So do I. Look, it's fine. It's fine. Some people are built different. You know, I was the first of my kind in my family. I was the first of my kind in my family. I'm in a family of losers, but I was in a family of people who like just, look, hey, this is step 1, 2, 3, all the way through 20 that we need to follow, and if we follow it, look, we'll live in accordance with good morale and all the other shit. Nothing wrong with it. But that was like drilled into my fucking head. And I was always like, no, there's more. No, there's more. No, there's more. I was always like, more, more, more. And I still am. Now
Mm.
I got little fucking kids that are wanting more. And I see why my parents wanted to fucking keep me confined. But I can appreciate that in them. So the there was a there was something you said that really that first of all, man, when you talked about looking at what was being done wrong, treating employees better or finding better ways to do it, and you went for it, man. The world needs more of you. The world needs more people like you who just are looking at things and saying, this just isn't right, man. It can be better, It can be better
Mm.
for the employee. It can be better for the company. It can be better for the world, because I feel like there's just not enough of it. I feel like it was just like a whole like decades and decades of success, and then people just fucking let it sit.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
let it sit, and now we're looking at the world. That's why everybody's like, bro, what is wrong with the fucking world? I tell you what's wrong. There's not enough adsies.
Well, they said
So
this. They found this system, right, and the system works for making money, and so they just kept it the same, and they never evolved it in any positive way. They just kept it the same because
yeah,
they know that the benchmark for them to make that amount of money, that's all they need to do. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
they don't need to do
yeah,
any more, and like so instead of looking at it from a perspective of like, hey, maybe this customer needs assistance with this, or maybe they need this, or maybe if we did this extra, like, and took the pay cut on that we would make it a better workplace for others. They don't think like that. They just think we have a target of $100,000 a month or whatever it might be, and we need to make that target. If we don't make that target, we're gonna have to cut some shit, and that's all they think of. They don't think of like how they don't think long term. It's like if we cut this now, say 12 months time, it might benefit us more in 12 months time, and we might make the money back. They don't think like that. They just think in this month we need to make this much money. If we don't make this much money, we've failed. And it's just like
dude.
it's not a right way of thinking about it.
That is literally what it is. So
Yeah.
I want to dive into that a little bit. The look, so when I was on Wall Street, right? It wasn't corporate. It wasn't corporate. It was it was a fucking bunch of stockbrokers, all right? So it was a bunch of young guys with loud mouths, making a lot of money. So that went on for 3 years, and then uh the group that I was with, they left that to go into the mortgage industry. Okay.
Right.
And believe me, I'm going to tie all this back to what we're talking about.
No, you're right.
They went into the mortgage industry because it was just easy money at the time. We're talking 2004, 2005. I mean, it was like you know, without offending anybody, you didn't even have to be able to speak to make money in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
At that time, so we were making money hand over fist. Me and the guys that I'm with. Keep in mind, I went from Wall Street to that environment, so it was basically just bringing Wall Street into the mortgage industry. Still young. At that point, all I knew was, hey, I know how to influence, I know how to sell, and I got all this money. Life is good. I'm a young 20-year-old. 2008 comes, and 2008 was the best thing that ever happened to me. In all honesty, because the I was succeeding in terms of like material things and finance and wealth, but that's it. I wasn't learning about life. And then in 2008, when the whole real estate market crashed here in America, was
Yeah.
was that was that globally, or I think that was just in the States? But the whole market,
It
right?
affected everyone. Yeah.
Right, of course. The
Yeah.
but it all came crashing down, right? And like slowly, one day at a time, people started losing houses. The banks weren't lending the way they used to, and we went from 250 brokers. I went from a team of 18 loan officers that I managed, one at a time. They were going back to whatever they did before, and I'm like, fucking 26-year-old. I fucking got this, man. Fuck this market. That's how stubborn I was at
Mm.
26, thinking that I can overcome the market. Not a bad day, not a swing,
The
not a
global
swing in the
market.
market. Yeah, the global fucking market. So I stayed there, fucking thing. Everybody could leave, fine, do your thing, whatever. And I'll never forget Kira. I don't want to say her last name, but Kira. She was my homie. She was my first hire. She stayed there with me till the end. I mean, pounding the phones, and I paid her whatever I could. She was she was an inspiration to me because she came in with no knowledge, no nothing, and I said, I'm gonna turn you into an animal, and I fucking turned her into an animal, and she became something else.
Yeah.
But she came up to me one day, and this is when I knew like shit was getting real. She was like, "Hey Ken, look, I don't really know." She like in tears. I'm like, "Whoa, hey, what's wrong? Something happened?" She's like, "No, I just don't know how to say this to you. And I'm like, "Well, hey, come out, say it. What's wrong? Are you okay? Did somebody pass away? What's wrong?" She's like, "I found another job," and dude, my fucking heart
Yeah.
sunk, and I'm like, but like I wasn't upset with her. I mean, I was happy. Like I felt joy, but like my heart sunk because I just realized like Ken, like, this is it, dude. Like, you're at the felt, bro. You went all in. It's gone, bro. You can't go back to the fucking teller. You need to go home. You need to go back to the drawing board. But you know what she says? She says to me, she goes, come with me. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I got this job at this company. It's a software company, ADP. Like, when'd you come? Like, the guys that are interviewing me, they're such tools. Ken, you'll own the place if you go work there. And I'm like, Kira, you know, I don't have a 4-year degree. I never went to college.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea. Look, you know what? This thing's gonna turn around. This thing's gonna turn around. And I'll never forget. I went to the mortgage office one day, right? And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to put my suit on. I put on my jeans. I put on like a nice sweater. I went in there, and I'll never forget this day. I was wearing a gray sweater, jeans, and I was wearing white chucks. And nobody was there. Nobody was there. I sat down and I looked at the office and I said, it's time to close it up.
Yeah.
It's time to close it up. It was, at the time, I didn't realize what was happening. At the time, I didn't realize like the excitement that was to come. At the time, I felt defeat. You know, I felt defeat. So I went home. We ended up closing that. Me and my buddy, we ended up closing that shop. Went home. I felt horrible. I didn't know what to do in my life. And then Kira calls me a few weeks later. Hey, what are you doing? And I liked her. I was like, you know, we're working on a few things. No, we're gonna make it work. Listen to this. I lost everything, Adzi. I lost everything. I didn't want to tell anybody. My car got repossessed. I lost my apartment. I let everything go because I didn't want anybody to know that I needed help. And I didn't know who to go to. I didn't tell my mom or anything. Keep in mind, my mom's still my best friend. And then one day my mom calls me up. She's like, hey, Ken, what's going on? You know, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, nothing, Mom. You know, just doing stuff. She's like, oh, how's business? You know, I was like, oh, business is good. You know, just do what I do. Why? You okay? You okay? You need money? She's like, Ken, I drove by your apartment. There's a for rent sign on your apartment. Oh man, broke down.
Yeah.
Fucking broke down. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to say. This and that. And then she broke down. It's like, what do you mean? I'm your mom. I'm your mother. I was like, I know, but because I have 2 younger brothers who they're great now, but at the time they weren't living very good lives. They were struggling a lot, and I was the only one that was actually being successful, and I didn't want to tell her. I was ashamed. I didn't want to tell her. So long story short, she tells you, Ken, I'll always be there for you. I'll always lift you up. I'll never let you fall. I'll never let you fall. You can never let yourself fall. I told her the truth. I lost everything. She's like, we're gonna get your car out. Don't worry. I was like, no, don't worry about that. I just need a place to stay, Mom. She got me this little box, like literally a third the size of this. This is a closet, by the way. I'm embarrassed to say this. This is a closet that I converted into an office because I told my fucking wife, I was like, this ain't gonna be your fucking closet. This is like another bedroom in the house. This is not gonna be your closet. This is my office.
Love
Third of this. Adzi, man. I sat there, bro. Let me tell you how big it was. A twin size bed took up 2/3 of it. That's how small it was. Kid you not. But I was happy to have a place to live, I had nothing, man. I had nothing. All I had were books, Adzi. So at 26, right? I had a TV, a DVD player, and this box of books from when I was when I loved to read, when I was all positive, and this box of books. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, God, what the fuck am I gonna do, right?
Yeah.
I went in the box, started reading these books again, right? Motivating myself, reading everything about a lot of it was just around kind of controlling the way you think, right? And shifting your focus. And I realized, like, dude, I have everything I need right here. So when Kira called me a few weeks later, I didn't say, oh, everything is amazing. I don't need any help. I did tell her everything's fine. But when she said, can you please come and interview here? This time I said, yeah, all right, I'm going to do it. I had my reservations about corporate America because my life wasn't corporate. When I worked at Wall Street, that shit wasn't corporate. The fucking mortgage industry, that shit wasn't corporate. But I knew what you want to know what it was, Adzi? Like in hindsight, I was scared. I was scared that I was gonna go in there and that they were gonna laugh at me, say, "Hey, you got no college degree. Who the fuck are you? This and that."
Yeah.
But in my head, I thought, you know what, bro? Fuck that. Fuck that. Are you kidding me? I'm more talented. I'm more passionate. I come with more fucking noise, more swagger than everybody that's gonna go into that office. What?
Yeah.
What? That was because I started reading again, and I started, it's almost like it's like a drug. It's like power. It's like fucking power. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Fuck that. I have what it takes. I'm gonna go in there. You want to know what I did? I had a phone with no internet, right? But I had a working phone. I would walk a mile to the library every day. They would let me use the computer for 1 hour. At the time, that's how it worked. You show them your library card, you get 1 hour on the computer. I would fill out the application as much as I could, go home. The next day, walk another mile, fill out the rest of it, go. It took me 4 times because I had never filled out an application like that, and I needed to get it right. Finally submitted it, and then I told I said, Kira, I submitted the application, all right? Bro, I wrote letters. I sent them emails. I was constantly on them like, hey, just following up. Just want you to know how hungry I am. Just want you to know how much this means to me. And I remember everybody around me, everybody around me saying, hey, Ken, man, maybe they're not going to call. Maybe, why don't you go get something small? Hey, I could get you a job at the port at the union. Like blue collar is your thing. Nothing against that. I'm just saying, like, people were trying to talk me out of what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. It almost worked because I was getting it from everywhere. Everybody pulling me like, you're going for too much. You're going for too much. You're going for too much. And I was the only one who's just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. No, 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 no. I am meant for this. I am meant for this. My best friends, everybody. And then I'll never forget it. I was with my little brother, taking him to Burger King one day. And we were talking about it. He's like, hey, how's it going, bro? I was like, yeah, you know what, bro, man? They're gonna call. They're gonna call. My phone rings and it's the guy Gino. And till this day, I'm good friends with him. He was at my wedding and everything. Gino. He's the guy who hired me. Calls me up. Ken. Hey, G, what's going on, man? How's everything? He goes, everything's good. Hey, look, we're ready to make you an offer. Are you ready to come in? Dude, I was quiet. Like I was very, very few things in my life have taken my breath away. That took my breath away.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, are you interested or not? I'm like, oh, yeah, yes. He's like, do you want to see the offer? No, just sign it. Can you sign it for me? Like, let's do this. Let's go. I don't care what it is.
I just want to get in there.
I just want to get in there, man. Dude, Azzy, that was the day. That was the second time my life changed, right? Because I needed that to happen, Azzy. I needed to lose everything. I needed to feel what it was like to have nothing again. I needed to go through that self-inflicted pain. I needed to learn that lesson at that age because nobody was telling me what I was doing wrong. But fucking life told me. Life fucking told me.
Yeah.
Life went, well, with my head and said, that's what you're doing wrong, idiot. Get your shit together or else this is going to happen again.
I love that, dude. And like the thing is, right, is that it takes a lot to do that too. Like I don't a lot of people would have given up. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of it takes a certain character in a person and a certain drive in a person to actually pick themselves up after they've hit rock bottom. And a lot of people can't do it. And I mean, yes, it is sad and sometimes it can be tragic, but like a lot of people just need that boost from others, which gets them off their feet. But to do it yourself is a whole different ballgame. Do you know what I mean? Like to be able to boost yourself without the assistance of others, that's a mental game.
That's why I did that podcast.
Hmm.
My whole life, Adzi, my whole life, I was always searching for somebody to look up to. I'm not to say that I didn't find. There were people that I admired.
Yeah.
But like when I was at rock bottom, every day I used to think, like, why isn't anybody helping me, man? Why doesn't anybody care? Like, why the fuck doesn't anybody care? Like, yeah, I know my mom cares, but she barely speaks English. She can't do for me what I need. Why doesn't anybody give a flying fuck?
Yeah.
It was me. It was me. I had to give a fuck.
Yeah. You make your own destiny.
I was like that my whole life. I never found that person, Adzi. And then when I got into so that was my ticket into corporate America. And by the way, I'm not corporate. I'm still not corporate. I drive the people in corporate America fucking nuts because of the way that I am. Because of the way that I am, you know, like they got their fucking corporate policies, and I'm like, oh, fuck this, fuck that, fuck your policy, all right? We're here to, we're people, we're passionate,
We're doing something
right?
different.
We're doing good things here. Um, but I, you know, I'm 40 years old, all right, and I've felt this way since I was about 29, 30, that I have the ability to lift and influence at a very special level. Because when I was 29, I did well, okay, at ADP, and they started giving me people that I can train and bring up, and I started getting these kids out of college. And I remember every time they came in, they were all fucking nervous, this and that. And I'd walk in and say, "Hey, relax, all right, or you're not gonna last a week. Fucking relax. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm the only thing you have to worry about. Okay, you come in here hungry, okay? You come in here, show me that you're willing to sacrifice. Show me that you're not gonna run over people to get there. You'll do well. I can't say the same for other people. If you get another manager, fine. You want to be a dick, go be a dick. You're not gonna have a good life, okay?" And I was turning these kids into like just animals, right? In terms of like business, but good people. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't turning them. I was helping them become. I should say. I was helping them become better and stronger people. And bro, the feeling that gave me, Adzi, let me tell you something. That feeling is priceless. Literally priceless. Like you could say, Ken, here's a $250,000 check, and I'll say, no. You're not taking this feeling away from me, bro. I want this feeling. You take your fucking money and you go keep it. So I've been procrastinating on that for some time, you know, and that's why when I did that podcast on the 48 laws of power, I picked 2 laws out of the 48 that I felt were because power can also be a bad thing. So I picked 2, but there's a lot of good in that book. 60-70% of it is a lot of kind of bullshit, but there's gold. I say nuggets. There's gold nuggets in there.
Yeah.
And it was a great podcast, you know, and like, but see, it was a month ago, right? It was a month ago, and like, you know, Reaper and several other people have been like, "Hey man, when's the next one? When's the next one?" That's what I got to stop doing. I can't let that come back into my life after fucking 18 years, like the whole procrastinating. I need to get in there and do that. But I want to do it for the reasons that I told you. I want to do it because dude, when I listen to you, by the way, when I watch you listen to you, that's inspirational. Like that feeds me. Like that fucking hungry lion in there feeds them. I want to be able to do that too. I want to be able to do that to the, you know, to the masses, you know, to the people.
I understand.
I'll get off my soapbox, but I was trying to connect the dots, you know, connect the dots.
No,
for
I
you.
totally understand where you're going with it. And like for me, it's like I've never really had like I've had a platform with business where I've been able to project myself and build on something. So like with the business, obviously, you know, doing all the socials and doing all the customer service side of things myself and like talking to people on the phone, and like I've always been good with that kind of stuff. Like in high school, I really struggled to talk like to people a lot. Like I was a very introverted person. Like I would spend most of my time in the library, like either playing video games or reading books. Like I wasn't really like a person who would, you know, conversate with a lot of people or like, you know, go out and play sports and stuff like that. I was just one of those people that was really, I kept to myself a lot. And like it was just because like I was really interested in learning new things, and a lot of the time, you know, I didn't take part in high school banter stuff. You know what I mean? I wasn't really into that kind of shit, and it just felt like a waste of energy to me. Like I was just like, it's like, oh, this person's dating this person, this person's dating this person. I don't really give a fuck. Like I'm reading a history book about Hitler. I want to learn more about this. Like I don't care about whatever's going on in the playground. It's not interesting to me. Like, you know, people, and like I'm a big sports fan, like, but I'm not a sports player. Do you know what I mean? Like I've always been a sports fan, but not a sports player, and that kind of shit. And for me, when it came to the business, I was like, I wanna be able to connect with customers. I want to be able to do all this kind of stuff. Like I was never someone who I would shake whenever I. Here's a bit of a background on this. Whenever I was doing speeches in high school, I would shake uncontrollably in front of classmates. Like I couldn't. I found it very, very, very difficult for public speaking. I couldn't do it. I was just like, I was terrified, and I don't know why. Like I knew I could say it and get it out, but my body just couldn't deal with it. Like I was just like I would just shut down. I would just like sit there, and I was trying to talk like this, and I just like, you know, my hands are shaking and I drop my notes, and I'm like, I don't know what it was about. Like I just didn't like talking in front of people, and but then like when I became like when I got into my job as a mechanic and stuff, I was always back house. Like I wasn't front of house, and then I got pushed to front of house for quite some time because they needed an extra person like at the front to like it's like a front of house mechanic, right? Which is a job that I created for myself. So like my boss was always complaining because we had a disconnect between the front office and the back office, right? So like the car would come into the front office and the service advisor, which wasn't always someone who was a car orientated person, would take down the customer's notes on what was wrong with their car, right? And then that paperwork would get passed through to the workshop controller, and the workshop controller would then give that to the mechanic. And the mechanic would read the piece of paper, and based on the piece of paper, he would then go, okay, well, this is what's wrong with this car. We need to fix it. Now, you can understand how Chinese whispers works, right? So every now and again, you would have a service advisor who would explain it incorrectly, or a customer who would explain it incorrectly to a service advisor who know nothing about the car. They would explain it incorrectly to the workshop controller. The workshop controller would explain it incorrectly to you. You go out to
Oh
this
yeah.
car and you'd be like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this car because I can't find any of these problems. And it was just
Right.
lost in translation. So basically,
Right.
I said to my boss, we had a work meeting one day, and they would always have meetings on a Tuesday, which is the stupidest day to have a meeting. But anyway, we were just sitting in this meeting, and we were just being like talking, and everyone's like, "Oh, does anyone have any questions or anything they want to put forward?" I said to them, I'm like, "Why don't we have a front of house mechanic?" And they said, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I'm not trying to create a job role, but I'm thinking like maybe that would be a benefit to everyone because if we have a mechanic at the front, when the customer drives in, right, that customer can explain to that mechanic what's wrong with their car, right? And then from there, we can I can physically write down what the customer is explaining. I can even go for a drive with the customer so they can describe what's going on with the car. And then I can take it to the mechanic and explain it in technical terms to the mechanic so they can fix it correctly. And the car doesn't come back. You know what I mean? You're saving,
Right.
it's not just about,
It's ingenious.
it's not just
That was
about the
good.
customer bringing the car in, getting it fixed, coming back, blah blah blah, etc. You're not only saving returned work, which is a waste of money because you're not charging for it, right? But the customer's happy and satisfied. They give you a good review. They tell their friends. They bring their more cars in. Like it's a progression of business. Like it's not a dumb thing. Do you know what I mean? Like
Of course.
and we're just basically just instead of the front office arguing the back office about who's right and who's wrong, just fucking cut out the middleman. Do you know what I mean? And like, and
Right.
if I need to be out the front to do diagnostics, I'll do it. So I created my own job role for like nearly 2 years. Like, I literally, all my job was, I would go out with the customer, we'd drive the car, I'd diagnose the car with the customer. I'd talk to them about it. I'd be like, okay, so when does this happen? You know, in what instance? What's the weather like? You know, all this kind of stuff. Like, it would be like a way of not only building a rapport with the customer, but compiling a diagnostic that is correct technically, so people would understand what we were fucking talking about. And
Right.
then I go to the mechanic and I'd be like, look, this is a screech from the left wheel. I'm pretty sure that it might be this. Can you just double check that and fix it for me? Let me know how you go, and I'll relay it to the front office. It was a perfect way to do things. And the place that I left, they still have that job role in at today because I created it, and it was just like,
They should call it the ad zero.
yeah, you know what I mean.
And
And it's like it just made so much sense, and that's why I knew when I decided to start my own business, I knew that no matter what I did, I could take all these ideas that I had that I'd been building up over the years, watching them like certain companies do differently, and I just think to myself, I can make that easier, or I can make that more efficient, or I can make that different, and it will work for me.
Right.
And so that's what I've done. And like, so when you say to me like, you know, you create people, like, you know, you drive people to you know, to be hungry, and you want people to strive, because not everyone has that, right? Some people have it but they can't unlock it, and it sounds like silly, but like they don't know how.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So like you're basically like an enabler. You're like a key to that person unlocking that thing that they have but don't know about, and that's amazing to me. And because not everyone can do the self-employment thing and be like, I've got this. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
For
That
me,
was
it's
very
just
articulate.
yeah. For me, it's just it's just the way I've always been. I'm always thinking 10 steps ahead of myself. So like when I'm building a business or doing something like what I'm doing now, I'm thinking 3 years ahead of myself. I'm not thinking 10 minutes ahead of myself like some
Right, right.
companies do. And that's what comes back to what I was saying originally with people with targets, monthly targets. Monthly targets are not what you want. You want yearly targets. You want 3 yearly targets. You don't want monthly targets because if you if you just plan your month and you go month to month to month, you'll spend most of that time, especially in my line of work, ripping people off. Okay, you'll spend that time ripping people off and doing your job incorrectly and just for the most money you can make. And you know what? Customers won't come back. All right, they see through that bullshit. All right, mechanics think customers are idiots. Some do anyway, and they think they can get away with it.
Customers globally have gotten way smarter than they used to be because
Correct.
of the advent of technology.
Exactly.
Information is like this. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like
No,
you're
no,
right. You know
I
what I mean?
agree.
People, you can't do the bullshit you used to do 20 years ago.
No, you can't say, hey, your flux capacitor is broken. Like, you can't get away with that shit anymore because people know that's bullshit. And
Right.
what it is it sets apart the mechanics that survive and thrive and the mechanics that don't. And it's like instead of saying to this customer, okay, you've got a busted wheel bearing, right? I'm gonna replace all four all four. Like, you don't have to, but I'm just gonna do it anyway because I want your money, right? That customer's not coming back. That customer's telling their friends not to go there. That customer's telling their mum not to go there, right? They're telling everyone they know not to go there. Now with Google reviews, you get a bad Google review. How many times do you look at a restaurant you want to eat at? There's 57,000 positive reviews. There's one bad one. You go, the chicken was uncooked one time. I'm not going there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how
Yeah.
many times does that happen? Like, I do it all the
Right. I
time.
know.
I'm bad for it. But like, that's what it is. And you know what? It's like, if you ever like, you guys can Google my business on Google. You'll see that every single I have like 50 or 65-star reviews for a reason. It's because
I'm not gonna Google you, but I do want to know your business name. Sorry, go ahead.
no, well, it is my name. So
Oh, oh,
that's what I'm saying.
my bad. Very
So you
good.
can look it up. It's Adam Trevor Automotive, right? And it's always,
Oh,
and so basically, like, yeah, I spent all the time making sure the customers were satisfied in advance of years. So I'm saying, so what I do is I'll service someone's car and do everything I have to, but I won't do everything that I like, that is extra. Do you know what I mean? So like, I'll say to them, look, these are the extras that we can do. Is your option if you like to do them, and this is the reasons why, and blah blah blah. And if they say yeah, let's go ahead, go ahead. If not, go ahead, don't go ahead. And then in a year's time, they come back because they have satisfaction of they know I explain things to people like in ways that they understand. You know what I mean? And so they come back, and like, so I'm not thinking I want this person's money right now. I want this person's money in 3 years' time. Like, I want them to be coming back to me every single year for service. Like,
that long term thinking is that long term thinking is so powerful. You know what I mean? Like you're everything you talked about before supports your success in a long term thinking capacity, right? Because if you're short term, then you have almost that car salesman like
yeah,
approach, whereas they're trying to hit their 30 cars for the month or whatever it is, their 25. People are just way more intelligent the way they are today, dude. I've been in sales since I was 19. Okay, well, really my entire life because I was selling teachers on why they should pass me, in my opinion. but I've seen the evolution.
Mm,
When you talked about how you came up with that idea, uh, simple as it was, though, you helped that company evolve and become more efficient, and they
mm,
still have that idea till this day. You know what I mean? So that goes back to what I said before, like the that's why I love working with people like you, inspiring getting inspired people like you, because there's just there's just a need for more of that, and for less of kind of sitting back. Yeah, I've been in corporate America right since 27. Man, Adam, dude, what these people are doing is so ass backwards. I'm known as like the black sheep, the outlaw. Every company that I've worked for, however, I always have companies offering me more money to go work for them, and that's only because of the impact that I have on the employees. Believe
yeah,
me, because they kind of like hate that I'm like that I don't follow their rules that are in place. but I've got a very good reputation with the people that work with me, and I work with people in the capacity of kind of like what I'm talking to you about, where it's like I help them get to the next stage in their career. I help them evolve. I do sell, I do bring in the revenue. That's my main role. But for me, what where my passion is, where my love is to help people turn on that switch. You talked before, you called it a key, right?
Hmm.
I believe that with everything in my heart. I believe everybody listening in this podcast, everybody that's going to watch a stream all day, everybody has a point A and a point B, right? And point A could be where you are, and point B could be where you want to be, right?
Hmm.
I don't think I'm the permanent one and only solution to be the bridge to bridge that gap. But I do think that I possess the tools to help a lot of people bridge that gap. I just
Yeah.
feel like certain people need all kinds of different things. They need somebody to believe in them. They need somebody to point them in the right direction. They need somebody to just pat them on the back. They need somebody to help them understand that people can become a product of their surrounding. And sometimes you may need to leave a group of people who you think are your friends. There are so many things that you need to do. I know I did it myself, right? But like I always think about that day that I was sitting in that box, right? Like the apartment, but it was a box. I was sharing an apartment with my cousin, and I had the tiny room. But I always think about it, Adzie. I always think about it because I remember sitting there. I see the TV, like I feel it right now as I'm talking about it. The TV was right there, and I remember staring at that box, and I don't know what it was that like gave me the strength to pick up that book because I really wanted to just put on a bunch of DVDs and sit there and just feel sorry about myself. But if I didn't do that though, if I didn't pick up the book and start reading, that information never would have traveled in here. A simple shift in the way you think. That's what people don't know enough of. Everyone's like, "Oh, I can't do that. You're built different." Yeah, you got luck. You did it. No, fucking no. It's a simple shift. That's it. You look at something, you see happy, you see sadness, you see anger, you see regret. Shift. You see opportunity. You see a learned lesson. You see the future. That's it. It's a
Yeah.
shift. I know it's not that easy, but it is that easy, if you know what I mean. You
No,
know
I
what I mean?
totally, I totally understand that. For me,
Sorry,
it's
I didn't mean
like
to get all fucking
no,
Tony
no,
Robbins
no,
on you.
no, no, no. It makes sense the way how passionate you are about it. You know what I mean? And the thing that I love about it is just like you look the same way. I feel as if I can relate. As regrets, right? Regrets in life are they're not regrets, they're lessons. If you look at life like that, you'll always learn something, and you won't take the negative. So it's like like everyone has hard lives. Everyone has stuff that happens in their life that is terrible. Like whether it be something that happens in your life, whether it be abuse, whether it be mental health, whether it be family members dying, whether it be anything, that might drag you down and just make you feel like shit. There's always going to be something in your life. But if you make mistakes in life and you look back and you regret them, you're only gonna reflect on the negative. Whereas like if you take the regrets you have in life and turn them into lessons, then at least you say, look, I did something wrong there and I fucked up, but I'm not gonna do it again. Do you know what I mean? Or there's a way I can transform this into a way that's gonna influence me in the future to make me a better person. Like it's just that's the way I look at life. And that's the way I always talk to everyone in this chat and in this community about how to look at your life. So like if you've had a shit time, which a lot of people in the chat and a lot of people in this community have had hard times. And there's hard lives. And especially at the moment with all this bullshit with COVID and stuff. Everyone's going through some tough shit. But you've got to take that and you just got to move on from it and try and make it like a positive thing. And it's hard, if you're not in the right headspace.
Dude, no, yeah. And you know what people don't hear enough of? They don't hear enough of that if you're struggling right now and you can't shift right now, that's all right, man.
Yeah.
Go through it, keep going through it. But don't stop believing, right? Hear the words that we're saying, listen to it, okay? But don't beat yourself up if you're not feeling it. Don't beat yourself up if you go off and you're like, I love everything that these guys said, bro, but I don't fucking feel it. That's all right,
Yeah.
man. It's all right because guess what? When I was in that headspace, I didn't feel it either. But I still knew, all right, that there was going to be a time and an opportunity, okay, to eventually get there. Because we all have moments of strength too. You said something insanely powerful. You said something so insanely powerful. You said there are people who have the ability, okay, to take life, maybe like life regrets, per se, and transform them into something greater, something like life lessons, right?
Yeah.
And then use that, right? Let, let me tell you this. My birth father left me before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom came here, left me. I had a stepdad. My stepdad abandoned me. Imagine the kind of pain I was feeling as a teenager, that I wasn't good enough, that I was bullshit. I drank a lot. I didn't tell you that, right?
Mm.
But instead of feeling sorry for myself, all right, that I wasn't good enough, that I was that, all right, I said, you know what? Fuck those losers. I'm going to be the best goddamn father any kid has ever had when I get the opportunity. I am going to fix it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This hole, I'm going to fix it. Let me tell you something. I don't know if anybody has seen me when I bring my kids on the stream. I try not to do it because I know we talk about all kinds of crazy shit, but they fucking
Yeah.
come in here whenever they want. I've got an amazing relationship with my kids. I love them. I coach my son's team. My daughter, she's 6. I have conversations with her that I thought weren't gonna happen until she was 18. So that's just, but that's one example. And of taking something that you could essentially use an excuse for your whole life. I could use that as an excuse for broken relationships, for failing at work, for this and that. But instead, I said, you know what? I'm gonna use that as a tool to fucking really, really enhance another part of my life. And I want to say this again, guys. That can happen at any moment.
Yeah.
You know what a lot of people do, Adzies? A lot of people, they live their life a certain way for like 15, 20 years, and they just feel like, oh, I got all that weight, man. I've been using excuses my whole life, man. I can't change now. I can't. Yes, you fucking can. Yes, you can. I've seen it happen. I've seen people live a life of regret and dishonesty and betrayal, and then fucking just flip it. Just
Yeah.
flip it with it. It's just a matter of wanting to do it. If you do get excited listening to people like Adzi and me, if you do feel like then that means that there's something in there that has the ability to manifest into just a better lifestyle, a better way of living. This isn't like mumbo jumbo that you hear from these fucking motivational speakers. This is real life.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's like, and it's real because we're not trying to sell you anything.
Right,
We're
exactly.
not trying to we're not trying to influence you in a way where you're gonna buy something. You're like we're just trying to show you that like it's possible to take life lessons or things that happen in your life and make something out of it. And you don't have to always yeah, like there is hard times in your life and you're going to be sad, and you have to go through that because you're a human being. Like it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be emotional, it's okay to go
Yeah,
through things. And like
hell yeah.
at the end of the day, like that might take a week, it might take a month, it might take 6 months, it might take 2 years. You never know how long these things are going to take to get over, or how long it's going to take to get through. But you'll get through it somehow or the other, and you just got to basically take it and use it, and use it in a way that is gonna make you feel better in life, and just make you someone who can just succeed in a different way. Like it's just a different way of thinking, like you said, like with the way you think about things. Like it works. It works. I mean, it's it's what's getting all of us through what right now, like COVID and stuff right now.
Yeah.
It's a struggle for everyone, and for me, like I had a moment a couple of weeks ago, and you guys saw me. I had an absolute fucking mental breakdown on stream like a couple of weeks ago, where I just cried my eyes out, and it was just because I felt like completely hopeless, like with the whole situation, because it's out of my control. Like, you know, they're telling us to stay at home and they lock us in our house or whatever they're doing right now, and I've been watching like my business just shit the bed, like, and it's just and it's horrible to watch because I've spent this is the 4th year of business for me, and this is the big year. Like this is the big year where I'm starting to make a lot of money, and I'm trying to use that money to build for the future of the business, and like try. And I don't want to be a mechanic forever. Like my body can't handle it. Like I'm just gonna break in half eventually. But I'm trying to expand it to the point where I can just kind of watch it. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to find a way where I can it's like a passive income plan that I have. So I
Right.
don't have to be working on the cars every 5 seconds for the rest of my life, because I'm not going to be able to do that.
You
But
want to build it into something that can run itself where you oversee it.
exactly. And I'm trying to do that. And this was the year, like I had a lot of money that I've invested in different things, like cars that I was building and places I was renovating and stuff, like all these different things that I was trying to do. And I had no like cash flow other than the cash flow I was making. So I had all these assets. And then what's happened is COVID hit Australia and they told us all to stay inside, right? With no, and they're giving us little like chips basically when it comes to like payments. And like, so I've gone from all this opportunity and all this stuff that's going to happen to literally just sitting in my house and like watching all my money that I have or that I don't have right now just disappear. And like it's heartbreaking to watch. But and I had a moment like where I wasn't feeling like as empowered and I wasn't feeling as strong and I wasn't feeling as confident with it, and I just basically felt helpless. And I was just sitting there. And I had a moment on stream like a couple of weeks ago, and I had a few drinks, mind you. We had like a little bit of a, probably a few too many beverages. I wouldn't sneak the lie, but
It's all good.
and I just basically just sat there and I just said to myself, I was like, what the fuck's the point? Like, do you know what I mean? I felt it's just like I spent 4 years of my life building something from nothing, only for it to be taken away from me without any control of my own, and watch all that effort just fucking flush down the toilet, and I just cried because like I had to. Do you know what I mean? Like I had to let the emotion out because I was just feeling pain, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, and for me, like, I knew that I know it's going to come good. Like, I know I'm going to get back out there. I'm going to rebuild it and all that kind of stuff. It's just like a little bit of a speed hump in the way of what's going to happen. But I don't like when something's not in my control. It's like, and when it gets out of hand for me, I'm like, I had a plan. You know, I like plans. I like lists. I like making things happen with what I picture in my head. And when it goes to shit, I just think, oh, for fuck's sake, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just get really frustrated.
Yeah.
It was more like I was just crying because I felt like anger and frustration more than anything. Because like I'm not an angry person.
For you guys, what
You know
you
what I
guys are
mean?
going through is remarkable. I mean, not in a positive way, obviously, because I feel like it's. I can't imagine that we had a little lockdown, but it was nowhere near what you guys are going through, man. Right now, every single one of you, your mental health is being tested in a way
Yeah.
that most people will never experience.
And the thing is, like, a lot of people, like, for me, I can go back to work now. Like, I've spoken to local members and I've gotten exemptions and all that kind of stuff. And I'm trying ways of, like, doing passive, like, no contact and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's plenty of ways that I can work now. A lot of people don't. A lot of people, like, hospitality industry especially, they're all fucked. They have no money. A lot of the businesses are gone. They just bought it up and left. They sold the stock they had and they said, we're not coming back. That's the end. And all their employees just went off to sit at home and twiddle their thumbs. And the government's now, they're paying. Yeah, we've got like a what we call a dole check, which is like, the money you receive when you're not unemployed or if you're looking for a job. It's nothing though. It's fucking nothing. If you're going from like $30 an hour or whatever it might be in hospitality, which is a casual worker, like it's good money.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to sit at home and they give you $200 a week. Like, what the fuck? Like that's massive. And like housing hasn't gone down. Like rent is fucked here. Like I don't know whether you've ever been to Sydney, but rent in Sydney is it's the third. So when it comes to rent, New York City I think is the first. Like the most you pay in rent ever in any city. Sydney's third, behind. I think it's behind Hong Kong or something. Like it is not. It's not a cheap place to live. Like by any means of the imagination. Like I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like in the north of the city, and I pay like nearly $2,000 a month in rent. Like it's fucking insane. Okay, but
I mean, there must be a widespread. Is there like widespread like increase in homelessness or anything like that going on in
well, the thing is,
how,
right, is
how are
that
people keeping it together?
we don't see it. This is the thing, we don't see it because they don't let us see it. So like there's a lot of homeless people in the cities, right? But basically what they do is they just tend to like disperse them. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like you don't see it if you're not in the city, you don't see it. And at the moment it's like a lot of people, um, they don't have any money, they don't have any jobs, and they're going on like government paid jobs and government paid income. But the problem is the taxpayer pays for that, right? And the
Yeah.
taxpayers aren't making any money. So the money's going to run out eventually, or we're going to be taxed more, or the inflation's going to increase. Like there's got to be something, because they just keep borrowing more and more and more and more money from the reserve, and you can't keep doing that without an inflation of currency. You know what I mean? So it's like, because the whole world is going through it, it's in some respects it kind of is leveling itself out, which you would notice with like the American dollar, but it's not going to be like that forever. One of the economies, and it's not going to be ours, one of the economies is going to take off eventually, whether it be the Chinese market or whether it be the American market. One of them's going to take off eventually. Everyone's going to be left behind, and inflation is going to increase by an exponential amount of money, and we're not going to be able to travel anywhere because no one's going to be able to afford it. Like do you know what I mean? Like it's just not going to be a thing. Like this is why the UK has decided to not shut down ever again, because they can't afford to. Like their economy they can't handle it. Like the British pound is the strongest it's been right now, because that's the only economy that's working. Like it's the only. Do you know what I mean?
I wonder what the end goal is here, though, right? Like so because it seems because the in the States, right? When I pay attention to what's going on, in the well, I kind of always do, but the way I view it, right, is I look at what these fucking idiots are doing, and then and it doesn't matter who's in office. Like I'm not like I don't care about that shit. I care about what their policies are and what
Yeah,
they're going through,
which is
how
the
they're
way you should look
executing.
at it. Yeah, 100%.
Right. I wish they could just fucking remove names altogether and just be a person and do what you got to do. But the way I look at it, right, is what's the end goal, right? Like, okay, this is what you want to do. This is why you want to do it. I agree with this, disagree with all this. Let's see what the end goal is. I wonder what their end goal is here, because I haven't really, I mean, I love all you guys and I love, connected with you guys, but I don't really know what they're doing. I know that there's the lockdown because I hear from all you guys, and it just sounds horrifying, and it breaks my heart because I care about you guys. But I wonder what their like end goal is. Like, wouldn't they, in their head, there must be some kind of a positive outcome from this,
What are they?
right? Or
What the government is so focused on vaccination, and that's it. So they're like pigeonholed themselves into just like complete tunnel vision when it comes to like everything. So what they're doing is they got their little goggles on, right? It's like the racehorse down the racetrack. All they can see is the finish line, and all they see in front of them is everyone has to be vaccinated. Everyone has to be vaccinated. And that's all they just keep preaching on it, right? And they're saying, once we get to 80% vaccination, once it gets to 70% vaccination, they're putting all these targets out that they don't have a timeline for. They're like, and they're just basically saying tough shit until we get there. Everyone can just like pretend to live. Like it's just like, and they don't have any solutions. Like yeah, they're giving us like cash, like but giving people cash is not the way to help people's mental health. Like they don't care about the rest of that shit. It's like the suicide rate is like nearly 4 times what it normally is, because people just are stuck inside with their own thoughts. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not healthy for some people. Some people can't handle that shit. Like,
suicide, divorce rate,
yeah,
all of those things have
everything.
quadrupled.
That's what I mean. And like, you know what? It's like people aren't meant to like be locked in their fucking houses with each other, or locked in their house by themselves for so long. Do you know what I mean? Like, this it's not healthy. So it's just
It's
and
not.
they're just basic. Like I said, they've literally got the blinders on, and they're going, look. All we can see at the end is a return to some sort of normalcy if everyone gets vaccinated. That's all they say, and that's the end. And if you don't get vaccinated, you're a demon. Like, do you know what I mean? Like they're basically
Right.
they're demonizing everyone who's deciding not to do it. It's like if you don't, they're saying, oh, it's your choice, but if you choose not to, you can't go back to the pub. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like
Don't you love it? Don't you love it when they don't you love it when they do that though? When they position something as a choice, but
without a choice.
is it really a choice though? I mean, it doesn't
Yeah,
sound like a choice to me.
and I'm no
Who the hell wants to fucking spend their life being vilified? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and I'm no anti-vaxxer. Don't get me wrong. Like vaccination is a very good thing. Like their vaccination is there for a reason. Like to stop people
Right.
dying. I totally understand what they're doing, but the way you go about it is like we live in a society which is like it's a democratic society where people vote for things, and people like have rights, and people pay taxes, and they live in their country, and they have certain freedoms granted them because they pay taxes and all that kind of stuff, right? You can't just then say to someone, fuck all those rights, do what we say. You can't do that in the same breath. Like, it's not, you just can't tell people what to do. Like, but the problem is with our country is we don't live in a democratic republic. We live in a democratic monarchy. So it's like it is kind of like we have to do what we're told. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's not the
Oh
same
yeah.
as living in America where you like, if the government tells you what to do, you just go no. Like, do you know
Right.
what I mean? Like, it's here. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, no, I know. I've seen the stuff on TV about people getting cited and shit. Like, dude, that blows my mind. I can't imagine what that must feel like if you're, let's just say you're hungry, you just have no food. You go to the supermarket and you get pulled over and you don't have a reason for being out at a certain time. You can get cited, right? Is that
yeah,
true?
you can get arrested and you get
I
fined or
can't.
whatever it might be. You imagine,
I can't
okay,
even imagine like the mental. I can't imagine because just being pulled over is fuck. Everybody hates it. Like just being pulled over by police. Like who the fuck loves that? But having to go through that experience when you're just a law-abiding citizen, crazy.
imagine. Okay, so imagine put this scenario. Imagine you live in one of the local government areas that is affected right now, because a lot of government areas are a little bit freer than others. So, but there's some that have like high rates of COVID in them right at the moment. So
Right,
they're
right.
locked. So they lock them down. And there's curfews and everything. Like it's like it's crazy. So like imagine, okay, you're stuck in your house, right? So you're locked in your house and you're not allowed to leave your house. You're not allowed to have any visitors, okay? Because you don't want to spread COVID, right? You've lost your job, okay? So you don't have any money. And then all you want to do is you want to go out to wherever you want to go out and just like, go and say, I don't know, see your mate or something, right? Because you need it. Because if you don't get it, you're not in a good space. On the way to doing that, you get pulled over by the police and they ask you where you're going, right? And you say, and then they fine you, right? They give you a fine that you can't pay, right? And so then you go home. Not only do you not get to see your mate, you go home back to your empty house where you're all alone with a fine you can't pay, with a mortgage you can't pay, without a job, and they're like, get vaccinated, you'll be fine. It's like, that is not a way to live. Like,
No.
you know what I mean?
Nah.
It's not everyone has the opportunity to, like, a lot of people who have money and can afford to stay home. Good for them, right? But not everyone is in that uh like that situation. Like a lot of
Yeah,
people,
no.
they live paycheck to paycheck, and not just for the money, but for like the social aspect as well. Like if you don't get to see your workmates ever again. Like you don't get to see your family members ever again. Like this is not like a small thing. Like you can't just take the piss on this. Like
So like after hearing, what you're going through from your mouth, and also, some of the other folks in the community have given me tidbits into what's been going on.
yeah,
I mean, look, the if I were to add, so first of all, I hear it and it sounds, I have nothing but empathy and love for all of you and what you're going through. I went through a really small part of what you guys are going through. I thought what we went through was terrible, and it's really not compared to what you guys are going through. Um, Here, I want to show you something. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Can you read that or no? I can read it to you guys.
you can read
I
it.
don't
Yeah,
know.
I sort of can't say it, but yeah,
So I for many years I had my kids on here, but then I switched it a couple of months ago. It says because like you, I went through like a little bit of a like fuck, I can't take it anymore too. Um, Not that I can't take it anymore, but just like frustrated. Uh, it says everything. So it's a lion, right? And it says everything you are going through is preparing you for what you asked for.
yeah,
So everything you are going through, right? So on now, just try to stay with me here.
yeah,
On a macro level, right? On a macro level, we've all done so many things throughout our lives to end up where we are. Now I know some people say, "What do you mean? I was born in the States or I was born in Australia." We're adults. We all could have made a variety of decisions to help us end up in a variety of different places. We really can. That's the absolute truth. So with that statement, I look at that when things get really rough for me, right? I look at that and I remind myself of, look, I'm here. Okay, the choices I made in my life landed me here. So this can't be wrong. It fucking sucks. And I fucking hate it. And I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel anymore. But this is part of the journey. Some way, somehow, this is going to give me strength. A year, 2 years from now, you guys are all going to run into another adversary or adversity, another challenge, and you're gonna fucking step on it. You're gonna slap it. You're gonna walk right through it because of the mental strength that you're gonna develop from something like this. Look, I know there's gonna be uh, casualties or people who just don't make it. Okay. But for those of you who want to continue to strive and continue to believe and hang in there, sometimes just hanging by a thread is all you need. The mental strength that you're going to develop from enduring what you're going through now. I mean, like, tell me I'm wrong if you don't agree with it, but because like that's just the way I feel. Like, because I've gone through some really fucked up shit in my life, but at the time I'm like, this is fucking horrible. How could this happen to me? I do nothing but good. I help people, and then and then in the future realize that wow, that experience really made me tough. That experience really prepared me for some tougher battles in the future.
Correct. And it's because it's the way you gauge things. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the level of what you go through, the level of struggle, the level of any adversity you come across, puts you up another level of resistance and resilience.
Yeah.
So like you start at zero when you're born. You start at the zero level of resistance, right? You're useless. You're a baby. Like, you know what I mean? And you work your way up to an adult, and you go through all these things in your life that basically make you who you are. And every single time
Right.
you combat something, like whether it be a hardship or something that brings you to zero, you go up a level in resilience, right? And you reflect on that and you learn from it, and then you go up another level. And every single time that happens, you never go down a level. Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
always you
Hell
always
yeah.
use all your past experiences and all the things you've gone through in life, and it makes you a harder person. It makes you a stronger person, and you just keep going. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
and and
dude. 100%.
and if you look at life like that, like a whole bunch of lessons that you have, like I said to you before, if you look at it, a whole bunch of lessons you have that you can learn from, and you continue to learn, you'll never make the same mistake twice if you think about it hard enough. Like, it's just, you just got to keep moving forward. And that's why a lot of people, like now with the lockdowns and with the world that it is today, it looks pretty fucked. It does look pretty fucked, but it only looks pretty fucked if you look at it in that way. Like, you've got to try and change it, because if you don't, what's the point?
You,
You
you,
know what I
you,
mean?
you know,
Like,
so what you just said, right? You know what, how I've helped a lot of people understand what you just said a little bit better. Exactly what you just said in terms of like looking at things and changing your perspective. I like to use the example of a car, right? I think most people can understand this. Like, let's just say you wanna, buy a black Mercedes, right? You buy you there's this one specific Mercedes. We'll call it a C300. Keep it simple. None of those crazy $200,000 cars. A C300. It's you like it. It's a nice car. You know what I mean? You really feel like you just always wanted it. You
yeah,
finally buy it, right? You buy it. You're on the road. You're like, this is fucking great, man. It's everything I thought it would be. Oh, there goes one over there. Oh, look, that guy's got one over there at Burger King. Oh shit, my next door neighbor has one. What the fuck? Everybody has a black C300? Fuck. What good is this shit? Everybody's got the same fucking car. Never realized it before.
yeah,
We've all been there. We've all been there where you buy that car, you buy something, and you start realizing, holy fuck, it's everywhere. It's fucking everywhere. That's because your mind is so focused on what you have and what you wanted, and that you achieved it, that's what you're seeing. Like, that's fucking science. Like, that's why when people say, oh, I can't. Yes, you fucking can. You just can. It's just that you don't want to. It's
yeah,
easy to focus on a toy, but you can train yourself to focus on things that you just haven't been paying attention to. And when you do that, bro, your world. I'm telling you right now, I've seen kids. I have kids that still reach out to me today. Ken, thank you so much. You changed my life. You changed my life. You changed my life. I always tell them I didn't change shit. I just you had one eyelid open, the other one was shut. I just lifted it for you. That's it.
yeah,
That's all. Well, because you have to do all the work.
exactly.
All I'm doing is simply fucking lifting the shade so you could see out the fucking window. I love what Pumpkin says. See, I had a near-death experience in 2013 where she, he or she, no, almost died. Now I celebrate that day annually like a new birthday. That's fucking powerful. That is powerful. Now there's a day of the year, right? That you look forward to. That it's uplifting. It reminds you of, hey, I encountered the highest level of adversity, near death, and I overcame it. Think about how self-empowering that is. And the person made a choice to make that instead of saying, oh man, I could have died, man. She would have been terrible. It's not, no, man. Just a shit. I don't want to beat
Exactly.
up on people who are negative either because I've been there too. I've gone through my negative. When everything's going bad, it's hard to stay positive. Okay, but you do control the what you think about. See, one thing that people don't understand, is that thoughts become things. Always think about that. Thoughts become things. Your thought. You can force yourself to think about something. I don't care how you're feeling. You can force yourself to think about something. 1 minute passes by, 2 minutes pass by, 10 minutes pass, 20, a half hour, an hour later, I promise you, that thought will manifest into a belief. I challenge anybody to challenge me on that notion.
I agree. I agree, dude. And like, it's it all comes back to what you want to get out of it. Like, it really is a cool
I
thing.
know we went way over, by the way. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no,
You're-
no. I love it. I love it. Look, I guess, look, we've done what, an hour and a half. An hour and a half of what I would consider one of the greatest chats I've had for a long time. And I
I
really
appreciate that.
appreciate you coming on, dude. I was looking forward to this all week, like I said, and it's one of those things, like, I knew that we would have this conversation and it would be really good. And I think a lot of people, if they've watched, they've gotten a lot out of it, and if they watch it later on YouTube, they're gonna have a really good. It's really gonna impact them in a different way, and I think that's really cool. Um, for me, the last thing I always want to ask people is, you know, what's the future for you on this platform? What do you want to get out of it? And what can you say to all the people who are trying to do this, and, like, try and what do you think is the future of what you want to achieve here? Like, what do you want to tell people, and what do you want people to come and watch you for? Like, what is why
Yeah.
why should we do it?
Hey, you know what? First of all, I want to thank you again for bringing me here, man. Thank you so much. You didn't have to. I'm happy that you did. All right. I'm so grateful to have become a part of this community. I'm happy that I even got curious and ventured onto Twitch. I believe everything happens for a reason. I really do. I just feel that it's up to us to try and dissect what that reason is.
Yeah,
That day I was if I wasn't playing video games that day and I never had that crazy finish, right? Would I have ever gone on Twitch?
probably not.
Probably not. Right? But I did, right? That door opened. And let me tell you something. I didn't get to tell you I won't tell you the whole story, but I failed many times in my life. Okay? At one time I tried to become an insurance seller. I had to take all these buses to go take these tests, and like I put all this time into it. I got a 69 on a test that I needed to get a 70 on. I failed so many times in my life, but every failure, I didn't look at it as the end. I didn't fall. Sure, I fell, but I got back up. I didn't stay down. Okay. So whenever those doors have opened for me, I've always appreciated them and gone after them. And that's what Twitch was for me. Twitch was a door. It was a door that opened. I met Charlie. I met all these amazing people, and it's reminded me that there's something in me that desires reaching out. There's something in me that desires helping people. All of those years that I struggled and that I was by myself and that I was in pain and that I was always like, why isn't somebody there? Why isn't somebody there? There's millions of people around the world like that.
Yeah.
I want to reach out to them. I
Mm.
want them to know that I'm here. I'm probably going to try and start a YouTube channel. I know I play video games and I know people, I'm silly and all that shit, but part of part of that is a little bit of procrastination too. Like I play games for fun. That's for my fun. But I need to step back a little bit from that and start doing more like podcasting and more of the YouTube stuff because I know that there are so many people out there that are struggling. I think about this. I really do. I know that there are people out there. They just need a little lift. They just need a little bit of a reminder because the rest of the world told them to go fuck themselves. They just need one person to believe in them. And I really believe it in my heart, Edsy, that's what I'm meant to do. Look, I've had so many different opportunities in my life. Even now, I'm in software sales. I'm a business executive, and I've gotten to the highest level I can get in this, and I live well, right? But it's now fulfilling that void, right? So like
Yeah.
selling and hitting these big numbers and all of that kind of success isn't filling the void. So what I think is next for me is I think I'm gonna probably pull back a little bit from the gaming on Twitch and do more of like the 48 Laws of Power stream that I did. Um, and then see what kind of success I can have on YouTube with that. And when I say success, I mean reaching out.
Yeah.
Like I want people to watch me, and I want people's lives to change. Reaper, he was in the chat before, right? The first time I met Dead Reaper, I was playing a video game, and he went into my chat, and he was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And we just hit it off. We started chit chatting, all kinds of fun stuff. And he was telling me about going to the gym. And Reaper, I hope you're okay with me sharing the story. I don't think it's any big deal, but I hope you're okay with it. He was he was like, yeah, like I've been wanting to get back into the gym, man, but I really want to put on this weight, I want, because it's easier to put on the weight and then shred up, and so I asked him, I said, well, how long have you been using that as an excuse to not go? He was kind of like, no, that's really what I want to do. I was like, okay, but how long have you been telling yourself that? And he was kind of like, well, yeah, you got a point. I said, go, just
Yeah.
go. Worry about the wait another day. You sign up for the gym, you just go. I promise you, it takes you 1 second to do something you've never done before. I fucking promise you. You got to be with me on this one. Reaper, tell them what you did that day that we were talking. And that was just through chat. We weren't like actually talking. That was just through chat. I don't know if it was that same day or the next day. He's like, Ken, guess what, man? I signed up for the gym, bro. Like the feeling that gave me, man.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. Like I haven't even seen Reaper. I don't know who he is. I don't know. He's on another side of the world. But that feeling, yeah. See, like he told you that he signed it up the next day. Do you see what I'm talking about? Bridging that gap, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a special level of greatness. Everybody has another gear that you can tap into. I swear to fucking God, every one of you has another gear. I have another gear. Azzy has another gear. You just need a little bit of help getting there. And Azzy, I hope that this road takes me there. I hope that my end result will be that I can build just a following of great people that appreciate appreciate these kinds of conversations, that can live a fulfilling life, that can overcome adversity, that can just be the greatest version of themselves. I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. I tried to call it like the great podcast or this and that. It got misconstrued a few different ways, and I just want everybody to know when I say greatness, okay, I'm not talking about conquering anybody. I'm talking about being the greatest version of you. The greatest version of you. Not having to beat anybody or put anybody aside. The greatest version of you. The you that gets up and does what he or she wants to do and gets it done.
Yep. And that's why we love you, mate. I love that.
You guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate your patience. I know I could be long-winded.
No. I love that you go around. You try to explain things the best way you can, and the best way you can is with stories, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
For me, I really just want to I want to be there to help you any way I can with what you are gonna do in the future, because I want to be a part of it with you. I probably do. If there's any way, shape, or form that this community can help you get to do what you want to do with that podcast, or what you want to do with your stream, or whatever it might be, you just make sure you let me know. Anytime you want to promote it or anything like that, we have channels for that. Go ahead and do it, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
just make it happen.
That's it, man. That's it. It's just about making it happen. No, I'll definitely, I'll definitely utilize, those different channels and those different bits of opportunity. And I said this to you before too. I said it to you kind of yesterday when you hopped in. By the way, I love that you just hopped in randomly to, to my stream. You think you're awake, so that's why when you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm on all kinds of crazy hours," you really are.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, pretty much.
Same thing, man. Same thing. Like you're doing what you're doing, and your thing's running at full speed ahead. But I want you and I want everybody to know that if there's anything I could ever do to help in any kind of capacity, um, I want to do it. I'll usually seek those opportunities out because I like helping and stuff. But that's how it is with me. You guys have given me so much. You guys
Yeah.
have given me so much already. So please, I'll seek out the opportunities to possibly help. But if I don't see them and there's something I can do to work, especially with you, Etsy, you let me know if there's anything
Yeah.
I could do to help you too. We'll I'll take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I'm sure everyone will be inspired by the words today, and also I'm pretty sure there will be a Ken and Adam #2 podcast at some stage in the future. I'm sure
I'd love
we
that.
can rehash it all over again. Eh?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, sounds good, man.
yeah,
Thanks so much again, man. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks again for the opportunity. I look forward to just continuing to grow with all of you.
yeah, 100%. We'll talk to you soon, man. I appreciate your time today. I really do.
You got it, brother. All right, be good, man. Take
Thank
care.
you,
Bye,
man.
everybody.
Bye. Fucking solid.